Hey guys, Dark Humility here. Today we have yet another Season 7 PD2 beta build. The Bone Necromancer, also known as the Teeth Necromancer, also known as the Cheese Grater Shredder of maps. Yeah, definitely one of the top mapping builds in the game. Of course, I have showed him before in Season 6, and he didn't receive any direct changes this season. But the reason why I wanted to showcase him here today is because he's one of the best builds to use the new Act 4 Mercenary on. New Act 4 Mercenary, of course, has its own magic damage skills, and also has a very strong Sanctuary aura on top of that, of course, which you can then use to stack meditation on top of using a staff, which can give you perfect sustain on top of course, the insane amount of Sanctuary aura you can get. He's also kept safe by the fact that you have some meat shields. Of course, you can get more meat shields in this or less, which actually is really cool. A lot of people are wondering like how to use this mercenary properly. Well, this is one of the ways to do it. So, without further ado though, let's continue. This will be a mini guide and short demo, and I'll show you just what this character can do with the mercenary. I'll show you guys how the mercenary kind of works. I like the mercenary, he's a beast. Anyway, you're going to put enough strength into your gear, nothing into dexterity. The rest of your points you really can balance between vitality and energy. You can go even half-half if you want. I wouldn't put all your points into energy or you're going to die to elemental damage, unless you have like maxed out. Even with maxed out res, that's the case. But putting extra points into energy is not bad because, as you might know, you have a very strong bone armor on a bone necromancer, and bone armor gets absorbed from points into energy. So I put in about 100 points in energy or something, but you can put in more if you want. I think that's a pretty good balance, good build, pretty safe stuff. And of course, you're gonna want 125 faster cast rate if you can get it. It's really the main crux of the build. Percent magic damage is nice though. It's very nice stuff. Of course, it does work with teeth. Those percent magic damage charms in general tend to be good. You can get some balance of them though with P and B GCs. In general though, these do tend to win out over the P and B GCs, especially once you get more plus skills corruptions. You can get over 10k damage on just teeth alone, and then everything else can shred. But you know, we're doing what we can do with the beta, but it doesn't matter. This build shreds no matter what. And of course, having faster hit recovery would be nice as well. Maybe an FHR GC, but I don't care because we have bone armor and I don't get hit that often. It's fun. You totally do though. Anyway, blood warp. You're gonna want that cooldown pretty low. You're gonna be moving quite often, and it also helps you just travel distances. Don't have to have the cooldown this low, but it's always a balancing act on the Necromancer between things like blood warp and bone armor and how much summons and how much focus you want to put on them. I put enough into Golem Master, you get 3 golems. You can get 5 golems. You can get more tanks. I've had 5 golems on this build before. It works. Anyway, you go for teeth, you're going to want all the synergies, of course, so you're going to want to max out all those. That's definitely a thing. You don't rely on curses really at all in this build, and there's no curses that are really going to increase their damage. If you want additional safety, though, that's another thing you can do. You can go something like Decrepify if you want, but it's not really necessary. You'll see when we test the build right here in a second that it's just not necessary at all. Mercenary is an Act 4 Mercenary, light Mercenary, so it has the Sanctuary aura, which is negative enemy magic res. Ever since Season 6, that is the case. So that is going to make your damage pierce all the much harder. Of course, that's definitely the case. Insight, Shalala is going to give him a huge amount of faster cast rate. You give him any kind of staff, though. With this amount, he's going to actually hit max FCR himself, which is good. Because then Holy Nova and Bone Sphere, he'll cast more often, which is good. And then you just want basically defensive stats, res and DRs, so he doesn't die. He's pretty fragile, though. I honestly think they should buff his defensive stats a tiny bit. I'm not saying he's totally fine as he is. I feel like maybe he could be a little more consistent with some of his casting, and particularly amplify damage on the dark one. So there's definitely a few things that I think could be a little bit better about it. But, you know, it's a pretty solid concept for a mercenary. And on this build, it melds pretty well. You can always use Asylum on an Act 2 Mercenary, but then you get Defiance and Asylum, and then you don't have Meditation, so once again, you'd have to have like more mana per kill, more life per kill. This would be a way to like not need those stats, and you can maybe stack more MF, maybe stack more defensive stats, whatever it is. Allow you some wiggle room to kind of do that, and it's kind of a good way to do it. But anyway, Asylum is good too though for the Sanctuary Aura, obviously. You can definitely pull it off. I'm enjoying the beta quite nicely, man. Bone Shade, of course, is the standard Ultra Wand on a Bone Necro. The rest of it is just giving us skills, FCR, damage reduction, res, some mana per kill here as well, by the way, so don't even really need it, but here's some extra mana per kill just for good measure. Yeah, it's pretty good. Kind of already went over the charms a bit. Torch, Annie, this stuff. Throw up the torch. Plenty more plus skills. Like this is a 120. Like, you know, this damage isn't nearly as high as it goes, but it doesn't matter. With that aura plus about like 8k teeth here, it's just gonna absolutely shred. And showing you guys, of course, power of the Act 4 Mercenary. Yeah, it would also depend on how many plus skills your build has and everything. You'd have to make a pretty big spreadsheet, clouds it in, but yeah. I don't know, do you have a spreadsheet like that? Share it with my community, post it in my Discord, I don't know, post it somewhere people can find it. That's a pretty cool idea to kind of make a spreadsheet showing how to min-max large charms and skillers and whatnot. Bad idea at all. So this is just a tier 1 map, but you can see here, infinite sustain. It's really fast, it's really insane. But of course, both the Sanctuary Aura and the regen on the Merc just doing tons of work. Really like having both of them on the same Mercenary. Really allowing for some crazy stuff. And of course, taking advantage of that massive mana pool as a result of putting all those points into energy for the Bone Armor. Oh my goodness, what's going on with the server now? I actually don't know. It's cracked! It's broken! You've never seen the Teeth Necromancer in Bash and Keep, by the way. It's quite a treat. Yeah, so you could have life per kill too, yeah. Yeah, you can have like insane sustain. Never die. This is definitely an insane mapper for sure. Like I said, we're missing so much damage too. I'm always hesitant to call this one S+ though, because it does start to struggle a bit in cows and with like higher HP, but not a lot. The only thing it's not, it is not a clearer of fortified maps. Definitely not. Looks like it's restarting or something. No. It's pretty good though, right? Pretty good. And of course, if you're not convinced yet, of course, yeah. What might convince you a bit more, of course, is things like some of these really high-end tier 3 maps. I think, oh no, that's too hard. Oh, it's definitely not. Love the Bone Necromancer, definitely look out for him. He's one of the strongest mapping builds in the game in Season 7. Oh man, all the golems. So with the golems as a front line too, it's just really insane. Make a revive front line too. Like I said, there's actually a lot of things you can do here. These things actually have some magic resistance, but that's okay. That's why we have the sanctuary. That's why we have the sanctuary where we're on the mercenary. It comes with it. And the great part about this build now is that you can even start out with it more effectively, because you can start out with Sanctuary Aura and then make an insight even from the very beginning of the game, which is something I actually plan to do in PD2 Season 7. I plan to start out with a Bone Necro. We're going to go Bone Necro, and we're going to slap an insight on an Act 4 Mercenary, and he's going to become a beast, and he's going to farm Chaos insanely fast. And then, of course, we'll, you know, start farming these maps, because why not? These things used to be magic immune. They took them out though last season. What the heck, man? Lag! See, this is a tough map, right? It's a tough map. Not when you have friends, though. Necromancer makes things easy sometimes, man. Question is, though, he's pretty fragile, though. That's his weakness. But I gotta take care of your Necromancers. Let's see if we can take care of ours. Yeah, he's a beast. Absolute beast. Yeah, you gotta have the Merc on top of the monsters to some extent. But it's just like any aura, right, Raider? He's pretty good. One advantage, of course, of the Act 2 Mercenaries, he does typically go more out in front of you and then gets more Mercenaries hit by that as well. Which is, I think, what we showed in the Season 6 video. You can definitely compare the approaches if you want. It's pretty cool, though. Either way, man. Either way. I don't think he's suffering. Let's get one without like crazy amounts of maximum life if possible. Yeah, so you know it. Yeah, it's still applying to a lot of the monsters I'm hitting, of course. In some of his good maps right now, though. I like that Holy Nova. It keeps you topped off even without life per kill. It's kind of nice. Mercenary doing something useful. He tries to top you off with that bone. You know, that using Blood Warp is pretty expensive. It keeps me topped off pretty well, though. Clays slow the monsters. Well, no, they just tank better. That's all it is. It's just a tank. That's all. I could have blood golems. You want blood golems? They just don't hit very often. You don't need meditation, you're right, but you can have other stats other than MPK if you have meditation, right? But yeah, you could totally do Act 2, Act 4. However, it's just to show that the Act 4 Mercenary is kind of cool. Look at that Holy Nova, man. That's nice. that cursor close to me so I can spread out the bolts. There you have it. The map shredder is alive. Definitely one of the premier map shredders of the game. Absolutely. I like all Magic builds, he kind of falls off pretty hard if you're playing in a group. Very strong solo mapper though. As you can see though, GG. Good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the mini guide and demo of the Teeth Necromancer, aka Bone Necromancer, aka Smash Necromancer. Get that damage up as high as possible. See you guys next time. Let's do it. Let's get it.